Basically, 2 ropes are required for the high place work. 2 ropes act as the main rope and secondary rope. The main rope mounts the power ascender and the auxiliary rope is for mounting the fall arrest device. These 2 are the matters that must be basically followed. Additionally, carabiner, helmet, harness and glove must be worn basically. There are 2 types of carabiners, including the auto-lock carabiner with the auto-lock that is locked automatically. In other words, the carabiner that is opened by lifting and turning and locked automatically by just letting go, and a manual lock carabiner that is locked and unlocked by turning the nut manually. Also, the fall arrest device that I mentioned earlier must be installed at all times on the secondary rope. This equipment is called Aesop. As you can see, Aesop is installed on the secondary rope, and carabiner is mounted on the hull of the Aesop to check whether the Aesop moves up and down. Also, it must be checked whether the Aesop is locked immediately when the Aesop axis is pulled down suddenly in this state. When locked, it does not come down, so the rotary valve is held with the thumb to move up and down and the lock is released. This is about Aesop, and among Aesop, there is an Aesop Lock. Here the carabiner is not mounted on the Aesop, but instead it is in the method of pulling the plastic lever to release and mount the rope, and the lever is returned to its original position for mounting. Among the functions of the Aesop lock, there is a function of setting the switch, and when the switch is up, it performs the function equal to the Aesop. When the switch is down, it plays a role equal to the ascender. In other words, it performs the function of not going down. The user must mount the fall arrest device to the secondary rope at all times when using the power ascender. In addition, the main rope is mounted with the power ascender for direct descending and ascending. Fall arrest device is mounted on the secondary rope. One thing to take caution when mounting the carabiner on the Aesop is that the rope must be mounted to be located inside the carabiner, but as you can see, it can result in falling if the rope is mounted outside the carabiner. Therefore, the rope must be positioned inside the carabiner at all times when mounting the carabiner. The power ascender is mounted on the main rope, and it is hanging on the main rope to mount the rope. And here it must be checked whether the release knife guide is mounted and locked properly. Then the grab module cover is closed. The direction select switch is pushed up, the throttle is pulled slightly to move to the position appropriate for joining with the harness. Also, the D-ring on the waist of the harness is hanging with the carabiner to hang the fall arrest device and the D-ring on the upper part, chest. In this state, the direction select switch is lifted and throttle is pulled slightly to adjust to the position where the user is lifted slightly by the power ascender. And the user must maintain the sitting position, and the fall arrest device must be positioned above the shoulders at all times to reduce the impact from falling. Here the user is ascended by the power ascender by pulling the throttle. The user is descended by putting the direction select switch down to pull the throttle. When the user falls suddenly due to the mechanical damage of the grab module and reducer of the power ascender during use, the user must press the emergency brake button on the dual safety device to automatically stop the falling. Then the user can open the grab module cover to turn the emergency release screw clockwise to enable the screw to push the emergency brake down, and the user can descend. Before using the screw for descending, spare carabiner must be used to create a half-cloth hitch knot to mount the secondary safety device. The rope must be held with the left hand to start loosening the screw. During the descending, the emergency brake may be locked to be difficult to release with one hand. In this case, two hands can be used to release more easily and in the period of relief. The rope can be controlled with the left hand and rotate the loosening screw level with the right hand if required to enable safe descending. The emergency manual descending lever is used when the electronic control device on the power ascender is damaged, or when the battery is completely discharged, to prevent the control through the use of electrical device, and in this case the brake is released slowly in a manual method for descending. Here, the descending is performed through the frictional force of the brake pad, so it can result in brake pad failure. Therefore, secondary safety must be secured by using the half-cloth hitch knot before using the lever, and the rope is grabbed with the left hand to release the lever slightly with the right hand to descend slowly. When the lever is released completely, safe descending is possible through your rope control. The battery must be charged or exchanged when the LEDs on the battery indicator are all turned off, or when only one LED is turned on. The battery must be exchanged at all times with the power turned off. Power ascender is placed on a flat ground or on the fabric to insert both thumbs into the battery pack lock lever. The lever is pushed to the outside direction. Here the lock lever pushes the battery upwards and the user can pull the battery pack from the top. The same method can be used for exchange in a horizontal direction. There is a groove on the battery pack, and the power ascender has a guide to enable smooth insert according to the groove on the battery pack. The groove and the guide must be set properly to insert the battery. The battery pack must be pushed completely inside to be locked on the lock lever. The lock lever will enable the battery pack to be locked when it is pushed completely inside. After the battery pack is inserted, press the power switch for 1 second to check the power, and the battery exchange is complete.